Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Control Alt UN podcast, aka the KMUN podcast. My name is Juanita Ndugi, and I am your host for today. With me today is my co host,
Amanda Ingala.
and we will be taking you through our topic of today, the gender bias in the diplomatic space. So, the topic today is going to be a little bit controversial, so allow me to just issue out a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions of the guests on this podcast are solely their own and do not reflect the official position of the society. So, I am going to hand it over to our guests to introduce themselves before we begin.
So, hi everyone. My name is Jeremiah Mo. I am a proud KMUNer. I serve at the Conference Bureau. I am a protocol member, as well as I'm a member of the United Nations or UN Women Committee.
So, hello everyone. My name is Halima Mude, and I'm the deputy head in the International Relations Office. I'm a fourth year international relations student at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa.
Hi everyone, I am Ouma Otado. I'm a student at the Zikot School of Law, currently in my third year, and I have been a member of KMUN for a while. Served in the GA Bureau as head of alumni relations and currently serving as member of the partnerships office.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Kitanga. I'm also a law student at the University of Nairobi. I'm also a member of the KMUN, serving as the current co-chair of the UN Women Committee 25th session.
Amazing. Those are our guests for today. So we all know that diplomacy is meant to be the art of equality, negotiation, among others. But do you think there's a gender bias in diplomacy? So guys, stay tuned as we discuss this. I'd like to ask our guests some of the fun facts you've heard about diplomacy in the recent months. Something. Start with Jeremiah.
All right. Some of the fun facts I've heard about diplomacy is that young people encompass at least 60% of diplomacy. Yes, of the diplomatic space.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Halima?
Well, recently, yesterday actually, I saw President Trump saying that he's going to Nigeria to it's funny. It's not funny actually.
It's always kind of funny with Trump,
With
but it's
Trump.
funny, but it's
But
not
then
funny.
he said apparently in Nigeria the Boko Haram are seriously killing the Christians. So he's going to, military intervention to clear them out. And then you see in Nigeria, the President Tinubu is saying, no, we don't tolerate religious persecutions, the Boko Haram also killing the Muslims around. But then Trump is like, no.
Sure.
But then it's not, obviously, Trump has a tendency of just waking up and saying stuff. So I don't know that if he's going to do it.
Allegedly. Okay. Tadu.
I think what I would find as a fun fact or funny about diplomacy is how African countries are often sidelined,
Yeah.
yet we have been very crucial in the diplomatic space from time immemorial.
Okay, a fun fact I came to realize or to know about this week is that in the olden days, diplomats would walk with spoons. Going for spoons.
Why?
going for those meetings. This is because they feared that just in case things turned political, they wanted to be on the safer side. Okay, that's something high schoolers will do, but yeah, I came to realize that. So that's crazy.
That they can just go and
No, they feared being poisoned. No, that's the thing. Yeah. Amazing.
okay,
They talk about any.
Giving high school, right?
Yeah.
high school, man. Anyway, for me, the kind of fun fact that I got to learn, there are actually two Amina Mohammeds in the diplomatic space.
No.
I didn't know that there were two different people.
Kenyan Amina.
Yeah, and the Nigerian one.
Oh, I think I've heard of the Nigerian one as well.
I thought it was the same person because they're both okay. One of them was the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Kenya.
Kenya.
Now that's the one I knew about, and I thought she was the one who rose the ranks and became the Deputy Secretary General. But come to find out that Amina Mohammed from
Nigeria.
She's a British Nigerian. Yeah.
Okay.
So she is actually the Deputy Secretary General currently. I thought it was the same person, but not really. They're two different people. And another fun fact, they were both born in the same year. So
Same name, same.
yeah, so it's like
Wow.
this is why we're getting them confused. So yeah, viewers, go and learn about the two Amina Mohammeds.
Something that caught my eye is the fact that Suluhu was inaugurated yesterday in the presence of our African leaders, which is quite. You were like,
What exactly?
why? Yeah. So, do you think that diplomacy is gender biased? Anyone can begin.
I believe it is.
And why is that?
I will make reference to history. When you look at the formation of the League of Nations,
Yeah.
the League of Nations was essentially formed after World War One, and even during that time, the mentality around diplomacy was that this is something that the men have to go and fix. War is something for men. So the men have to talk about war and how to fix about the political issues that emerged from those particular conflicts of the League of Nations. Yet the League of Nations failed. And this was largely due to egoistic personalities that were having these conversations.
Yeah.
And eventually that led to a Second World War. And after the Second World War, they formed the United Nations.
Yeah.
I don't think the United Nations was that much of a difference from the League of Nations. It was just a new fancy name. It was just rebranded, but in essence,
Same.
the mandate remained more or less the same, and the functionality also remained more or less the same. So the deficiencies still remained because they didn't come up with proper mechanisms for this new international body.
Yeah.
And this was at a time when a lot of the youth populations of men had died off in the wars. And so they were saying that for us to nurture a society and to heal, we have to have women in spaces where they are sort of like feminine jobs, receptionists, nurses, sort of like to try and rebuild society and their economies. But this ended up being a regressive sort of action because in the long run, it ended up focusing on a society where women and girls and children are sidelined in decision making, especially decision making that affects their lives directly. Yeah, that is my take. It has never been equal in any way.
And I think a sort of addition to whatever you have said about the historical background of diplomacy, I was actually doing a little bit of research on this topic, and I came to find out that women were actually a part of the diplomatic space way before the League of Nations. That was during the medieval times. Basically, women were the ones who were hosting all these galas to ensure that there are conversations between people of different backgrounds, to come and
societies.
like discuss their differences. But then came the colonial period. Then they were sort of pushed out of that space. It stopped being the women's job to bring people together. It became a lucrative kind of space. So the men came and took over, and now the job of the women were just to host, but not to really chime in on the conversations. So they were kind of pushed out, and now that's when it became very male dominated, and that was during the colonial period, and that's now what brings us now to what you were talking about, the League of Nations. By the time between that period now and the League of Nations period, that's when men kind of became very active in the diplomacy sphere. So yeah, just a historical background. Women have actually been in diplomacy for quite a while.
Ever
So
since.
yeah, we were just sidelined at some point, but I think we're getting there soon enough. Yeah.
You remember akina Mekatilili Menza, Wanje Makeri, those ones during the colonial periods in Kenya.
Yeah.
Devlins?
My take is yes, it's a space that is still biased. Being a student of gender and development studies, even looking at it from our homes, I think for me that's where diplomacy starts as well. when you are homesteads, goats go eat from your neighbor's shamba, and now there is conflict in between the two families. At times you'll see it's your mother because they're the home keepers and caregivers within the homestead. They're the first to go call Mama Nani, and then they have a conversation. And now when it at times bears fruit, it's okay because wako kwa chama moja, you know. When it fails, now is when they will involve wacha baba nani atakuja na wazee waongee. So from a gender perspective, for me, I look at diplomacy also from the aspect of it starting from our own homes, in the grassroots level, because that's why we even learn conflict resolution before we even sit down on the tables and in conference rooms to have it. We've already done it from home. But at the same time, looking at the modern days which we currently are in, despite all the progressive policies to engage women in diplomacy, I feel like it's biased in terms of how much women have to do to finally be in that space. Not even as an ambassador, not even as a diplomat. There is a lot of things that they have to do, qualifications, restrictions, beauty standards for them to be considered a perfect diplomat. And now, when at times they come out strong for who they are, they're perceived to be she's a bitter woman, she's not married. Who is she to talk to men like that? You see, so it's a space that still, when it comes to equality, we have a long way to go. Yes, gender wise.
Halima.
To add on what Devin has said, it's true that when you'll find that women need to work twice or thrice as more to prove I am worth this
Being
position.
there.
I'm worth being an ambassador. Okay, so you'll find even when you're in conferences, you'll see a woman up there. A person will be like, "Wow, wow," because you know for a fact
Yeah.
she worked so hard to get there. And like other people, men, them it's just casual. Okay, you made it. Okay, but then for women, you see them there, you're like, wow, I'm sure you toiled to get there. You needed to prove yourself way more. And then you'll find, the way Devin has said, you're a bitter woman. Then they'll bring aspects of marriage, like Mother Karua during Moi's regime.
Yeah.
She was like, why are you, Mbona hujaolewa? You're disturbing us over here. You should be, so that you shut up. Of which marriage shouldn't even be it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
So you'll find for a man, they're assertive. But for a woman, you're rude, you're bitter, you're just bringing a lot of things. Bure, you know, you're an emotional woman. But then at the end of the day, this emotional woman is the one running this company that you can't run. Yeah.
Yeah, I must say that there is gender bias in the diplomacy world. Listening to stories, I was actually listening to a story by this diplomat of the UAE from Libya, diplomat of the UAE from Libya. When she was saying the first time she walked into this room as a diplomat, she found the director, and this was the question she was asked: "What am I going to do with a lady?" I mean, these are the questions that you get in reality behind doors. These are the things that you hear, because women have to prove themselves, as they have said. For you, the checklist is that, what can a woman do? Actually, there are these notions that she wants to be a diplomat, be sent to a different country, achacha watoto na nani, will cater for the family, such notions. And that really shows that there is gender bias in this space, and we have a long way to go. Yeah, we can see that much is being done, but we still need to do more to make it better.
To do more. Yeah, and adding to what she just mentioned, especially when it comes to women, leading also from a film called The Diplomat. Yes. So at times you will see men tend to infringe on the affair. She's got the position, but she's still being fought in the position by the aspect of the man wants to still guide what she's going to say. He still wants to meddle in her work affairs, you see. And at times also women are seen, you have a lot of baggage, especially where kids are involved. When are you going to take care of your husband? As we take you to another country, you have kids in place. That's a lot of work to do. But having people like Aida Herminio, the South Sudanese ambassador to Kenya, having people like former ambassador Amina Mohammed, I think for me, she's the first person who introduced me to the diplomatic space, being a young child. I think it was around 2013 when she was an ambassador.
Yeah.
For me, she's still the peak epitome of what a woman looks like, or even what diplomacy should look like. For me, that's a reference point when it comes to Amina Mohammed, because the progress she's been able to do as a woman now to conclude, it shows in as much as there is challenges in the space, there are some who have stood out and created a very clear pathway of women can do it and they can do it better as well. Yeah.
Amazing. We have great people, great diplomats, female diplomats. We have our amazing director of UNON, Miss Zainab Bangura. We have Ambassador Njambi and others who create a space for women to work in diplomacy. There are role models and so on. So maybe you guys can tell us, what do you think are some of the challenges that women are facing in the diplomatic world, those who are in diplomacy?
Okay, allow me to go first. So I think there are way too many challenges that women faced. First, let's take this loneliness in representation. You walk into a room, the number of women in that room are very few. So you're speaking from a point of, I'm not speaking as a woman myself, but I'm speaking on behalf of other women. That is a very great challenge because you find it's quite overwhelming. Imagine you're in a room of like 50 diplomats, but around, let's say 10, because statistics have it that 21% of the diplomats in the world are women. So the larger percentage is definitely of the men. So you walk into a room, the numbers are way unproportional. So it is very difficult. We also have the skepticism, as we have all said, she is a woman. That notion, she is a woman. So you have to fight through for your decisions to be heard, for what you are saying to be taken with much consideration. You have to fight and push through and find your space in that world so that you may now be taken seriously. Other than that, we've also seen that there is sexual intimidation on the orientation of I'm female. What I'm saying might not seem so relevant, but I feel those are things that we really need to eradicate because they are frustrating. And actually, seeing women go through this is not such a good thing. It is not lovely at all.
Real.
Any other?
What will stand out for me will be probably the emotional distress that comes with that particular title sometimes. Because you find that the men in a diplomatic space will tend to view that feminine perspective as being illogical in terms of how they view conflict resolution and how they view the fundamental issues in these spaces. Because women are naturally nurturing. And so they will want to come up with solutions that benefit everyone, including their enemies.
Sure.
Men will come up with a solution that is only political and that will benefit one side and leave out another side. And so this sort of creates this perspective in the male dominated field that if we allow women to really dominate this particular space, then this particular concept of international peace and cooperation may be put in a sort of limbo because they depend on that. How do I phrase it? The hierarchical relationship that we have in the diplomatic space.
Okay.
That is why we have a Security Council. That is why we have, various committees, ad hoc committees, and such and such. But then you ask yourself, why is it that when it comes to issues of women and children, and especially around war and dispute resolution, why is there no enforceable body, even a tribunal, to deal with our issues? Because they really don't matter, in my opinion, to these particular people.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
To add on what he has said, I'm assuming the majority of men take empathy as a weakness. Because mbona unaonea huruma, you shouldn't be doing that. There's no need for that.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at like the international system, emotions don't really benefit most of the nations. So you'll find in cases of war, they'll only talk about a ceasefire, territorial integrity, you know, take that, I'll take this, but never the core issues, never never the suffering of the people. It's just simple. Ceasefire, take the land, I take this part, it ends there. So the way he has said, there's no tribunal or an internationally recognized body to take care of, you know, post-conflict, like the post-conflict, the recovery, the relief. There's nothing like that.
Well, for me, I would say, in agreement with all the challenges mentioned, still coming from a gender champion perspective, I feel like misogyny is so much infringed also in the diplomatic space when it comes to us really trying to champion for equality, because we'll still find there are standards which are in place of how a diplomat should look like. And now, when a woman comes with a different style, she has to be forced to fit into that. Is it interviews, is it meetings she's forced into, or others she is put into but never allowed to speak? And at times when they speak, you'll hear at times them being called a toothless lion. So whatever she's saying, yeah, it's just nothing. Yeah, that's not relevant. In Kenya, we say huyu anakwanga tu hivo. So they'll just be dismissive like that. And at times you find it's all rounded. I won't say it's an African issue, because we've also seen them with white people from the West. We've seen it in Asia. So it's something that is encompassed in the entire world globally. When it comes now to misogyny being a very big obstacle for equality in the diplomatic space. Yeah.
Okay. And I think bouncing off of what you've just said, I'd like us to give a little perspective of what you think the image of diplomacy should be like, because you find most of them, let's even start with dress code. It's official, wear suits, wear what. I think
Heels.
I love when I see Miss Zainab,
Zainab,
when
yeah.
she goes to the stage, she's wearing African attire, and it's like, amazing. So is it like, okay, I don't think it's much of gender, but it's more of the maybe African perspective. But what exactly do you think the image of diplomacy should be?
Equal table, equal platform. If we're dressing this way, equally. If we are all in a conference room speaking about wars, speaking about education in the region, everybody has an equal opinion to what they say, and whatever they say, it has to be considered in the decision making equally. Equal table, equal platform. Yeah.
Well, I genuinely think the same. And also, like the African attire you've talked, like the president of Nigeria, Tinubu, is always in African attire. He's nothing else. And I think that's nice. Like more, like they should continue doing that. Even when they go maybe to like the main, the United Nations General Assembly, that's exactly what they should be wearing. Because I think there's like the sense of pride.
Yeah,
Like
in our
these
culture.
people know exactly in their culture. These people know what they're representing their own people. Yeah.
But I have a quick question even before we go to the to them. When it comes to dress code, even in our legislative houses in Kenya, say Parliament, say Senate, it's considered official. It's considered more of suits, even for us as guys. But you find we want to take pride in our culture by the aspect of wearing, our African attire. So even I think for KMUN we have Global Village, right? Yes,
because you get
it's,
to,
people will come out in their attires, but you'll still find, in as much as we're aspiring diplomats at that society level, people are still trying to figure out, if I wear this, is it too much African? Is it too much undiplomatic? So how do I go about the dress code? I feel like we are yet, in as much as we still show up in that, we're yet to get a template of what it is, should look like, matters of our dress code. Because I feel like westernization has taken a big part of it. Even looking at Kenya, when it comes to us wearing African in our parliament or in any official event, people will still show up in suits. It's not that they don't have African clothes, and if they wear, it's either Masai attire. They close it at first. Yet we have over 42 plus tribes in the country. We have Kikuyus, Taitas, and we had our own style of wearing.
Yeah.
So how does that really look like? I would really love to see also a future as I close of when it comes to African diplomacy and engagement in terms of how we express it in our dress code. I want to see it colorful as to our cultures and diplomatic roots look like. Yeah, I would really love to see that in the future.
So,
I hope so.
I think whatever Jeremy has said is actually a bit of what I was thinking.
Okay.
We rely so much on formalities and we forget our objectivity.
Sure.
And we need to start demanding for leadership that is based on accountability and not appearances. Because we have, and sorry to say this, but every time I see our president speaking at the UN, he's very formal, very eloquent, but whatever he is saying
Yeah.
kind of scrambles your brain a little.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the case with many African leaders. We have the formality, we have the appearances, we turn up in suits, good looking, want to be regarded as Your Excellency,
Yeah.
but we really have no objectivity. We have no foresight when it comes to what we want as a people, and that really reflects on us badly as a society. And we should start holding our leaders accountable every time they represent us, maybe in international affairs. We need to demand for maybe reports or audits on the progress that they have made at these particular meetings or international conventions that they attend, because they do attend this on taxpayers' money and they attend as public servants, meaning they are our symbol of national unity while they are representing us abroad. And so they should be objective in that representation and not really take it as a chance to go touring the globe, That's my take on that.
Okay, that's amazing. I think I agree with most of what they've said. But again, if you ask me this question about what diplomacy looks like, a few years ago, I tell you it's people in official attire, looking amazing, in platforms, signing forms and all. Exactly. I think we should take a different turn and view diplomacy not about how competent you are based on how you prove yourself. Let it be on what do you bring to the table. Because we see that most of our women, let me speak about women, for women, their competence is based on what best do I say? How do I prove myself? How do I make myself look better than the men? That is not how diplomacy should be. Diplomacy should be a place where we are leading with emotional intelligence, representing humanity. Let it not be about, because if you ask a random person, they think about probably just the state, the image of the state. Let it not be about that. Diplomacy should be about representing humanity at the best level.
Yeah.
insights from everyone. I'm hearing a lot of Africa. You think we're going to do an episode about
Absolutely.
Africanism
African
or
diplomacy.
African diplomacy?
Yeah.
Just for,
I
to
think-
get all this out.
I think that is one thing that we should really do, because a lot of people, even in particular, a lot of Kenyans, you will ask a Kenyan which tribe they're from, they will tell you right from the go. I'm Kikuyu, I'm Luo, I'm Kamba, I'm Masai. But ask this follow-up question and 90% of them cannot tell you.
Yeah.
Ask them, do you know and understand your family history and your heritage?
Yeah.
When you ask them that question, 90% of them have no idea.
True.
A lot of us have no connections to our rural homes, Goshago, because we say, me, I'm in Nairobi most of the time. Why do I have to go back home, And I came to realize that it is a very important thing to always visit home, because then you get to get connected to your roots and understand your people better, and you're able to even get a better understanding of your own identity as a person. I will probably give an example of myself.
Yeah.
I will say my name out in the open, and people will automatically assume that I'm Luo from the Luo tribe. Essentially, I am kind of Luo, but my parent was a half caste of Suba and Luo.
Okay.
A lot of people do not know that the Suba or Abasuba
Or even
are
the
very different from Luos. They speak a different language, they have different cultures. And a lot of the people who are Suba just openly accept that they're Luo because they have no records
oh,
of
so
their
their
culture
culture is
and their
Culture is
heritage.
kind
documented.
yeah.
Yes, and the language itself is almost extinct. There are very few families who still speak the language fluently. And so, in trying to understand my family heritage and background, it opened me up to a lot of history, East African history, especially Western Kenya, and the history of Africa in general. And such an initiative is what gives you that understanding of why some things in the political space and especially in the socio-economic space turn out the way they do.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of policy in this country, as much as we like to admit it or not, a lot of policy and laws do affect us ethnically.
They do.
And so our political inclinations sort of form this bias in us that because I'm from a certain region, if I do not vote for a certain person, then I feel like my tribe or my community will be left out and we don't stand to gain anything from this particular government. Which is one thing we should really look at as a people of this country.
Yeah.
Because it really affects our national values and principles and how we are governed. Because it affects development of infrastructure, it affects how the people in society get basic human rights delivered to their doorstep. There are places in this country that people still shower at the lake because they don't have bathrooms in their compounds. They go to the toilets in bushes because they have no proper sanitary facilities, you see. And this is one of the failures of devolution that we are seeing as a country that cannot really be implemented at an international level because there are rigidities in how international law affects the national values and principles. It can't really dictate how we do our own things.
That's amazing. I would love to hear more on that. Again, guys, tune into that future episode that's going to be coming about, African diplomacy. We are definitely going to pen that down. Now, I think we've digressed quite a bit from our topic of the day. So let me just bring us back by asking about your experiences in KMUN. Do you think that there is a gender bias within our society itself?
I think I can go 1st. I've been into Kenya Model UN as a society since 2022. And one thing that shocked me about KMUN to begin with, since 2022, the membership matters by virtue of eyes as a protocol, because I started as a protocol ever since. Our role is ladies. So at least in the rooms, you'll find ladies maximum. And that for me was something to applaud from my end as a champion for he, for she. Because at least women are able to own up spaces, speak for themselves, learn how to even delegate and represent themselves even now when it comes to the meaningful tables. Because I feel like KMUN is usually the first staircase for you to get to the top of the floor. Because you'll find some of our IR students, others are even engineering students. So they are able to come. Maybe they're amateurs in how they articulate themselves officially, if I'll quote it like that. Maybe they are now learning the art of communicating better, engaging better, and expressing and advocating for what they want better. And then now eventually, you see them now go to TV interviews, you see them go to podcast interviews, you see them start up their own movements and associations. So I don't feel it was since 2022, I don't feel it's a gender biased space because also the men who are there, now, despite them not being as many as women, I feel like they still come out strong, and they advocate themselves as well. And there is that aspect of at least it being relative to, we are able to exist in a room where we are two men and five girls or four girls, like today as we are. Yeah, there is not that aspect of now for us will have to fall back because now women are the majority in the room. Also being a member of UN Women, as I close, I remember the conference we had this year, 2025. We were only two guys in the committee for UN Women, and the rest were shorties. And UN Women was like the top most registered committee for the conference. But still, my end, I did not participate actively because I was a protocol despite being a delegate representing Nigeria. But we had a guy called Hagi, who was now the only guy participating actively in the committee. And he emerged out to be an outstanding delegate from the committee. And the women also who were there, they were able to also win the awards. But at the same time, now from an observing point of view, I was able to see there was still that balance and correlation with him being the only gentleman actively in the room. There was still that balance of how there is, turn taking, creating up the position papers, the blocks, how they were forming it. Yeah, I would say it's a community or a society where we still thrive together as men and women. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think men usually shy away from you and women because they hear the word women? Or do they
Yeah,
think it's a
that aspect is there. I feel like because when even looking at the mock debates before we even land to conference, the turn up for men in the UN Women Committee is always low. And of course, the reason now, even after asking around, why don't you join us in UN Women? Now it's not supposed to be.
It's a female thing.
Yeah, it's a female thing. Despite even us knowing, actually, UN Women is meant to advocate and for empowerment and equality of all genders. Yeah, so I feel, yeah, it's a reason as why maybe men shy away from it. Yeah.
But guys, as you can see, we have very many, okay, not very many, very few gentlemen within you and women. So if you're interested in it, imagine just come on. It's
Yeah.
not a feminine space alone.
It's not.
You
Yeah.
will find some of our very seasoned delegates over there to, guide you through it. But yeah, guys, join you and women. It's a space for everyone. Yeah.
It
Anyway,
is.
moving on.
Well, I don't I think I don't want to use trying. Trying seems negative-ish, but we are there. Yeah, that's what I think. Because even when you look at the panelists that are usually there, you look at the delegates, you'll find that you can see many ladies around. Like there's no, so sometimes in a room you can identify a woman because other just males everywhere. But then here, sometimes I look around, I'm like, wow, we are so many over here, and that's really nice. And even you'll find panelists, they're females, they're males. You'll find like conference. I remember there were judges, there were diplomats, ambassadors. With the first smoke, there was literally a nuclear scientist who came, and I was like, wow, okay. So you'll find we are trying our best to bring out the equality, even in the bureau, in the executives, all those offices. There's balance, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I do think KMUN has gender bias
Okay.
in terms of our membership, but in a good way. While I was serving as the alumni relations coordinator, I realized that from the previous sessions, from like the first to like the 10th, 15th session, you have a lot of positions in the National Secretariat occupied largely by men. But after the 15th session, it kind of takes a turn.
Okay.
Now you begin to see ladies are more prominent in the National Secretariat, in the COR, the different organs of KMUN.
Yeah.
And this has greatly changed the narrative around the stories that we talk about in KMUN and the impact that we've had in society. I think even the partnership with Nigel Hack has really changed the dynamic of how KMUN works in a good way. And I'm seeing the effect even at chapter level.
Yeah.
Because there's a time at JKUAT's current chapter, we had very few ladies willing to be in the local secretariat, and those who are there were more or less never around most of the time. So ungeita meeting unapata tu mostly guys and
Council
one
of
lady.
Governors.
And even when you're trying to make a decision, inakuwa ngumu kidogo.
Yeah.
Because then again inakaa ni kama nika click fulani tu ndo ameamua what to do. But this session, I was surprised to see that our local secretariat has 70% of ladies in it.
Ah, nice.
And the membership has really skyrocketed, even at chapter level, which is a good thing because I feel like ladies have a natural, how do I say it, natural attraction to KMUN and what it offers, and they're able to pull in other people quite easily.
Easily, true.
So maybe a friend, a classmate, even
That's
a
how I was
boyfriend.
pulled in. Like my classmate, actually, she's part of Com Square. She's called Bijou. She was like, she posted. I was like, "What's this?" She's like, "Oh, it's KMUN. Join it, okay." And then I told my friend, "Let's join it, okay." And then that was us joining.
Yeah, so it's quite advantageous, and even for guys. No offense to anyone, but I've seen guys who are like, hey, at that debate, on a dem flani, I have to go back. I have to see her again.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're here for. Real. Yeah.
So at face value, when you look at it, there is that bias, but it's a good kind of
A
bias
positive
that
bias.
puts at a good position.
Yeah, and even before we get to Sarah, I feel like one thing with KMUNas, now the lady KMUNas, I've met ladies who are an embodiment of confidence and esteem within themselves. Because you'll see them walking in this room fully glammed up in their heels, and they're not coming to take pictures. No, those women will pull out their position papers, they will own up the mic, and you listen to them, and you're like, however you are. Yeah, because I feel like they come with wisdom, they come with knowledge, with facts, informed. So it's not only beauty by facade, it's also beauty by brains in terms of what they also have to speak in those rooms. And I thank God for Gossip Girl. Because I feel like if you are just a straight up dude now going to approach a KMUN and just say, I like you, yo, lazima namba tuombe kwa Gossip Girl. Because yeah, I don't feel it comes out as intimidating. It just comes out, there is something to what I was expecting. There is something more to it in terms of the kind of female delegates we put out in KMUN. Yeah, that for me has always been something that I'm yet to wrap my mind around. Yeah, beauty and brains.
Can I just say something before we proceed? I think it's important for me to appreciate someone. This is someone who was actually the person who made me join KMUN. And this was at a time when I actually joined KMUN as a resolution to give myself purpose.
Okay.
Because I joined KMUN after recovering from TB. I had been unwell for like 7 months, and I was on medication for most of that time. So I lost quite a lot in terms of school, and I fell back on a lot of work, and catching up wasn't easy because you go back to school and your friends have moved on. Mentally, it was also draining. But one time I went to visit a friend for Hostel Zao, and this friend had a roommate. This roommate starts asking me if I moot. I said, yes, I've done a couple of moots, but I was like, I'm not really that good at mooting. Then she mentions that she knows the perfect space for me if I don't really like mooting, but I want to be involved. And she talks to me about KMUN for almost an hour. And I think this is something I might be interested in.
Yeah.
And so I joined KMUN, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And this person also went on to become someone who's very interesting and inspiring to me. Miss Grace Minor. Yeah, I hope we can have her on the podcast sometime because I was really at a point when I thought I don't have anything more to give.
What next?
But when I joined KMUN, I realized it was that space that I had longed for that I just didn't know about.
Okay.
And I have made a lot of friends and a lot of relationships that have helped me in my career and as a person, which I wouldn't have had the opportunity if I didn't come across that person. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for her.
Yeah.
And I would want to urge people to try and be open-minded about KMUN, especially when approaching it for the first time or hearing it for the first time. Just be open-minded and be willing to venture into it open-heartedly.
Yeah. And I'll request to get the last question is how did we get to join KMUN?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, so allow me to say that KMUN is one of the few spaces where gender bias does not exist. That is such a good thing about KMUN because I can tell you for facts, you begin with the national secretariat all the way to the local secretariat into the committee rooms during our debate sessions. You will see all genders ably represented. You'll see both men, women, debating. You go to the ICJ, the agents of the court, we have both genders. You'll see mutas, both men and women.
Yeah.
Same applies to the ILC, commissioners. Gender is actually well represented there. So I feel like KMUN has created a space where gender does not determine who you are taken for and how seriously you are taken. And that is a very, very nice space. Now, onto your women. Everyone has mentioned your women. Okay, let's say we are taking a great step. During First Smoke, we had a good number of men who actually were the ones throwing POIs. Even the ladies were shocked, which is amazing. And it's actually a good thing to see. So let me say this, looking at the camera. So to everyone watching this, and you're a guy who is interested in gender equality and the empowerment of women, but gender equality in general, please, UN Women is definitely the place to be. And I clarion coil, it is not about women. Let not the name confuse you. We are open to all genders. Second mock is coming up, guys. Let's do better. Let's see more men in that committee room. Yeah.
and registration is still ongoing. So if you are interested, now is the time. I think I'm going to cut off this part of the episode to just put it there before we actually release the episode.
Oh yeah. Very
It's going to be coming out soon after registration closes.
Okay.
Alright, back to you, Amanda.
What do you think is the best way to challenge gender bias in the diplomatic world?
As young people,
I think advocacy and engagement, because I feel like gender bias comes from a cognitive point of view, matters our perception about people. Once we salute that, then even the practicability and the actions we take forward will be informed. So I feel like it's more of male allyship, and because it's a male dominated space till now, and at times you will meet an ambassador or even a diplomat and you ask them why aren't women more in this space, and the answers they'll give you, you'll realize it's coming from how he's been raised up or what he thinks from Kitambo. So now when you start shaping, especially through conversations like the one we're having today, cognitively we'll start advancing towards seeing the essence as to why we need equality in the diplomatic space. Yeah.
I think the KMUN is a very good place to challenge the whole gender bias thing with the UN women. And she said recently, at least, there were more men coming. So that means men are thinking, you know what, gender equality, and it's okay. It does not threaten me in any way, shape, or form.
Real.
So this is an us thing. The entire world generally, that we can all coexist without terrorizing the other or going against the other.
True. Tadu?
I think we need to create an affirmation, an understanding in society that advocating for the rights and basically privileges for women and children is not an attack on the men in our society. It is trying to create a society where all of us are viewed equally as human beings,
Yeah.
and that we all have vulnerabilities as human beings, equal vulnerabilities. No one is stronger than the other when it comes to suffering.
Yeah.
And so, equally, we need to have a lot of cooperation in the conversations around the issues
Yeah.
surrounding gender inequality in society.
Nice.
Lastly, Sarah?
Well, I think that for us to eradicate gender bias, as you said, it is about how we do it ourselves. It is all about me and you. Diplomacy begins at home. So how do you take your sister when they speak? How do you take your auntie? You take them with the seriousness that they deserve, or you just have to lesser because they're women. Let us not do that. Let's avoid that. Let's take women with the seriousness they deserve. As he has also said, empowering women does not mean belittling men. Let's all be equal. Let's all take each other with respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sawa. And another one is just maybe to wrap the conversation up. As we've said, KMUN being an equal platform for both men and women. I think understanding that socially enables people to understand that even later on in life, diplomacy is both men and women. However, if you're taken seriously here in KMUN, probability is that if you build your confidence here, even when you go on to the next step, that is in the diplomatic world, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or wherever you'll find yourself, that is what you're supposed to embody when you get there. Yeah.
True.
Sawa.
Last but not least, before we go to know how you guys joined KMUN, what advice would you give to people doing IR, law, gender, and they're not sure where they belong?
What advice would give them?
Yeah.
And also development studies
Yes,
students.
yes.
I just came to realize I am a graduate of development studies for my undergrad. And actually, a lot of us didn't know we ought to also get to the diplomatic space. We just saw ourselves as NGOs, county governments. Yeah, but also diplomacy is part of us in terms of foreign relations. Advice is put yourself out there by the virtue of it being meaningful in terms of the conversations you're engaging, the information you uptake as an individual, because that will help you propagate yourself to a better whole packaged diplomat or student of that course that you are taking. Because you can do IR, but if you've not been able to package yourself in terms of how informed you are, also outlook, it matters. In as much as now we're talking of dress code, there is no way you'll be diplomatic and you expect to come to KMUN dressed in your jeans and your sneakers. Nobody will take you seriously in KMUN as well. Not even before we get to the embassy. Yeah, that's why I feel like it's as a protocol member, we are so loud on dress code is official or smart casual. But smart casual yenye imeomoka. Yes. So yeah, just put yourself out there and also invest in yourself. Learn, read books, read our history. That will help you a lot. Read how we used to tackle the world wars. Read how we used to tackle the different Beijing conference we had for the women. We had the Beijing at 30, right? So things like that, they will help you be informed and now engage better as a student. Yes.
Amazing.
Personally, I think as an IR student, reading is very important. You have to read. And not read, like read, understand, analyze. Not information given. You don't have to take it as it is. Also, it helps you develop critical thinking. Someone says this and you say, no, actually, I don't agree with that. And there's importance in reading because there's so much out there. Like I could just look at my phone and something pops up and I'm like, oh, that happened and I didn't know. So you'll find in the as you read, as you watch documentaries, as you watch so many things, you'll find, oh, I'm actually interested in this. I want to pursue this more. How can I do that? You'll actually, I believe diplomacy KMUN is for everyone. Even if you do agriculture, UNEP is there for you. You come. You come and do that. Like any course, applies. Finance, the World Trade Organization is there. There's a lot. ECOSOC is there. There's a lot in diplomacy. It's not only IR and law. It's not just international law and the diplomacy we know. There's so much inside. So you'll have to not find yourself, but look around, because there's a lot diplomacy has to offer.
Find your niche.
Find your niche. Yeah.
All right. Yes, Otada?
Well, myself, I'm a law student, but in KMUN I've only done moot once.
Okay.
The rest of the time I've spent in KMUN has been in the General Assembly. And so I would actually say I think law students are the most conflicted in terms of their personalities and what to do. But what I will say about it is take time to understand yourself and your values, especially your values and principles, and what you hold dear as your core beliefs. That will then inform your place in society, what you are meant to do, and that will guide you to the right space in KMUN.
Okay, so I think what I'd say is you first have to affirm yourself that you belong. No matter what the room outside there says, inside, whatever the people say, you have to remind yourself that you belong. It might seem hard, but people have made it. We all will make it. So as Juanita has said, you also have to discover what is your niche. What are you interested in? As he has also said, I've been in KMUN since the 23rd session, but I've never done a moot. I've been in the General Assembly all along because my interest is about getting to understand these systems and ensuring that they're even fairer for women and young girls. And that is why I have found UN Women to be the space for me. So I tell the young people watching this, join KMUN. Come, we have seen that it's not about fellow students, it's not about courtrooms. We have the ILC where you're able to write articles, you're able to write, I've forgotten the name. Yeah, the articles. I think they are articles. Come to the General Assembly. You do your position papers. You're able to stand and speak for your country. You're able to get the different perspectives of what different countries stand for. So I think just put yourself out there and never be afraid of being ambitious. Never be sorry for being ambitious. You are exactly who you think you are. Yes.
You got this.
And just a little bit to add on what Sarah has said, there is something my principal in high school used to say: if your dreams do not scare you, then they're not big enough. If you feel like you do not belong in a space, that is actually where you belong. If you feel like you belong in a space, kidogo,
So the place-
that's not the place for you. It's still no coaching. You need to look forward. So just be ambitious. That really, really works within the diplomatic space, I think. So back to you, Amanda.
These guys are going to tell us their KMUN journey and how they joined KMUN. So you guys, you need to be inspired.
Okay, mine will just be short, but it's an interesting one. How I joined KMUN, I have my cousin Moses Toma. He was the deputy comms 22nd session for quite some months. And then so he had been going out, and I think they were coming from a warm-up challenge where they had Ezekiel Mutua as a guest. So I text him, I'm like, yo, Kaz, how did you get here? So he's like, you can join, you have a chapter in your university. What is even a chapter? He's like, there is a KMUN in JKUAT's Maine. So I was like, okay, I would like to join. So I did not go for the first mock debate, but now there was a second mock debate coming up, because also getting a hold of the chapter members was difficult. That time JKUAT we had like 10 people. So it's one of the biggest societies. We thank God for last session. Anyway, so I joined. You remember it was in the Star second mock debate. I had written a sketchy position paper because I've never done one. And I was representing South Sudan. UNEP was a committee. So I get there, it was a bit late because I also did not know where Daystar Valley Road was. I was a newbie in the city. God. So anyway, we go, get in the conference room, people are seated. You know how we sit during the rooms, the committee rooms. And people are speaking. People are dressed. I remember I had like white Air Force. a khaki jean, and an official shirt because now I was like, it's smart casual, it's a weekend. Why should I?
Yeah.
Hey, people are in suits, are in ties. I remember that day, I did not know anyone, even like my own chapter members, because I was new to them. So I remember that time seated at the cafeteria at this, and I'm like, this is where you belong, but you have a lot to do. How people are expressing themselves and how they're dressed, because it's part of growth. So that's how I took up the challenge. And I was like, one time, because I saw chairs, I'll even sit there.
Yeah.
And yeah, here I am. I've been in KMUN since the 22nd session, served as PGA in JKUAT Main, served as the Deputy Undersecretary General there, served as a protocol for the longest. So yeah, it was quite an experience, and I'm super grateful. So if it doesn't scare you or make you question yourself, it's not big enough. Yeah.
Well, for me, as I said, it was Bijou who posted. I don't remember what she posted, but it was something. It seemed okay for an IR student. I was like, yeah, that one. Nataka yo, in that one. So I asked her like, where did you go? How did you find this opportunity? And then she's like, oh, there's this KMUN queer, and then she sends me the link. And then I joined. I sent my friend the link also, and then we. So most of my journey in KMUN has been with my friend Cynthia. She's the co-chair of ECOSOC. So you can see how much you've developed, how much there's so much you've done, learned. Because the first thing we attended was the last year's conference. So you're newbies, like, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you. But then we had fun. It was enjoyable. So you'll find as time goes on, you'll find things you're interested in. You'll find we found yeah, it was fun. Here I am, deputy I don't some things
Yeah, kuleta na maji.
you just find yourself there. But yeah, you see, there's so much growth
Yeah.
is in me as a person, in my career, because I do IR. So most people think Imali Meja to IR student. Well, I don't know, but like for me, this is the space where this is the grassroots level for where I want to be in future.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has been fun, enjoyable. I mean, conferences, people speak, you ask for your eyes, you want to assert dominance, you want to do this and that. Yeah, it's been so much fun
Yeah.
overall.
Just like a minute addition from my end, I am grateful to KMUN as a platform because it helped me understand who I want to be in the future. I remember I've said I started with UNEP, and I was a delegate in UNEP for the longest, till like the 23rd session. Then I started developing interest in the gender space. Then I plugged into UN Women for the second MOOC debate, now 23rd session. And ever since I was able to discover this is my path. So from a development studies student for my undergrad, I was even able to decide for my master's, I think I want to do gender and development. So it's also a place where you discover yourself and what you really want to be, as a person. Yeah.
I think we heard from Utato. Is there anything you'd like to add on that? We can just skip over you.
Yes. Yes. I have a lot.
Sound. Be comfortable.
Someone once called me Magoti ya KMUN.
What? 2 minutes? Yes. Why?
He referred to me as Magoti ya KMUN. On that particular day, I was actually offended. I was offended. But then when I got home, I thought about that statement and I realized there's actually nothing to be mad about.
Okay.
Think about the knees. Can you stand without your knees?
No.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Okay.
Oh.
Kwani ni mhenga?
Wow. Bana.
So I joined KMUN in the 17th session.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
In high school.
No. Well, this is the story.
Okay.
KMUN in our chapter was formed in the 16th session by Miss Grace Minor. Props to her, by the way. In the 17th session, I joined just as a normal delegate, but I did not really have a deep insight to it until the 18th session. In the 18th session, I found myself being the USG of JKUAT current chapter. I was leading a chapter that had entirely new members. As a USG myself, I wasn't trained. I was learning on the job.
Yeah.
So it was quite difficult to get my chapter going.
Yeah.
But after we managed the 18th session, we did fairly well. We attended almost all the events, the mock debates. We attended out of town. That was the one time out of town was in Nakuru,
Oh, yeah.
in Kabarak, yes.
Okay.
So we went to Kabarak with, I remember us traveling with a Nissan, a hired Nissan is a Northrift. Because the school didn't even recognize KMUN at the time and they refused to give us the bus. But we managed to negotiate with them. By the time we were getting to conference, we had the bus. So our numbers for conference were actually pretty good. We were almost a full bus. And people noticed, especially people from the National Psych and the COR. And they sort of motivated me to do better. And so in the 19th session, I was still around. That is when I tried for National Secretariat. I applied for National Secretariat the first time. Long story short, I've applied for National Secretariat several times. I've never gotten it. God knows why, but all in all, I do not take for granted or I do not sidharau my significance in society. Because when I look back at my impact, as you've said, if I hadn't probably taken up the role of USG, probably you wouldn't have joined KMUN.
Yeah.
Because I was part of the team that recruited Toma and his team. I have trained and led rooms where some of these individuals ended up joining the National Secretariat. Jeff Soom has been a delegate in my committee room. Yeah, and a few other people I will mention, but basically my point is, if you ever doubt your impact in KMUN, just look at the people who wouldn't probably be there if you hadn't taken that initiative to reach out or to make yourself known to them.
Okay.
Well, mine is a very funny and interesting one. How I joined KMUN. I remember it was during the 23rd session. Now I'm a first year in campus. I'm getting to know the societies that exist in campus. And I see this poster, KMUN. I scan the code. I joined the group. I think it was around conference time. Then you see the way people dress up in culture attire. So those are the photos that are popping in. Like, is this a modeling thing? But people in so that was my notion. Actually, that Kenya, that modeling. Wow.
You should see
Exactly.
the amount of DMs that we get. Hi, I am a model. I want to. It's
I didn't know that was my notion. Now I was thinking the same. So 24th session kicked in. Then I've joined the group. I now see notifications. Then I see join in, guys. I'm like, what is these people are joining in? I decide tap. I click in. And the LS had planned, I think, a Kahoot session. I'm like, hey, how are things running here? Kumbe it was just basic knowledge. I join as a first timer, knowing no one, and I win. And I'm like, this space that I'm winning, why not? The next thing I've applied for first mock. Go to first mock. I get a special mention. I'm like, again.
lovely.
We continue. Second mock. Most diplomatic. I love this. I continue. Conference, I still get a special mention again. Still during the 24th session, when the term was almost over, I remember applying for assistant comms director and our chapter. I remember serving with Juanita. It was short-lived, but I think it also exposed me to a lot because I enjoyed capturing those moments where people were training during the GA simulations. Yeah, and then now, after being a delegate for so long, I applied for the Bureau in the 25th session. And now here I am as the co-chair of the UN Women Committee.
Wow.
Amazing. Let's start with you. I will close. Let's start with you.
And the funny thing is the notion about the model part in gaming
Yeah.
is actually quite profound because in 2020 around 2020 I was making a poster for an orientation into KMUN. And then everyone was asking me if it's about modeling because I used to model in school. And so the fact that it was me talking about KMUN, half of the people didn't show up when they realized it's actually not about modeling. It's about,
Diplomacy.
yeah.
All right. So Amanda, let us hear your backstory.
For me, I joined KMUN in the 21st session Ikisha. I think that was when Martin was SG, right? Yeah. So what happened was in high school we had EMUN. And then there was this clique. You have to be in a clique ndo uingie EMUN.
Or Simon.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I did not get the privilege of entering EMUN. So when we entered first year during orientation, I had someone saying KMUN and I was like, I'm interested. And then I tried to follow up with the person who was saying Anijibu. I'm like, this is hopeless. Then I went to our lecturer, and I asked her, I want to join KMUN. And she was like, oh, that's amazing. We even have one in Desta. I'm like, okay. And then she gave me the number of Jeremy Atambo. So I text Jeremy. He's like, let me send you a link for conference. I'm like, conference. And then I'm looking at the price for conference. I'm like, hey.
Just the rhyme.
And then I'm sending my mom the message. She's like, Amanda, what is this you're entering into in uni as first year? I'm like, Mom, you remember, UN? Yes, I want to go to UN. So, acha nianze ku build my rapport apo pole pole. Like, okay. Then she sends me the money. I send it to the number that was there. And then I get a confirmation. And then I send her the confirmation. She's like, okay, now it is real. So we had like 1 week to conference. That is when I was registering, I think, or 2 weeks. And then in that 1 week, Jeremy anatutrain. GA, mnafanya hivi. I'm like, what are these? Ati position papers. I'm like, oh no, why are we writing?
Yeah.
So during the day of conference, we were supposed to pay a membership fee in Daystar, which was I think 400. And then I'm thinking, I've asked my mom 2,000. Now I have to ask her 400. So what Jeremy did, he was coming to our bus. And then in the morning, conference day, like Monday, he says, aya, kama uko na 50 bob toa, kama uko na 100 bob toa. So we were giving him every day during conference mpaka ikafika 400. In that bus, we were like, I think 15, because I remember ICJ had 3 people who were observers. LC had 2, and then GA, we were like 10 people from Daystar. So me, I decided to sit uko nyuma kabisa and observe. Long story short, we finished the 21st session, 22nd session. I think I vied for chief of staff. I didn't know what that was, but I was like,
Yeah, you are.
that for LS. And then I'm being asked questions. I'm like, what is Jafita? 22nd session Ikisha, I think, yeah. They saw me with a camera. And then they're like, tumepata communications director wa Daystar. I'm like, hey, what? And then I'm like, it's photographs only. I'm like, I'm being told, no. You'll have to design posters. You have to. I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to design posters. They're like, you learn. So I had to learn on the job. Then I became PGA Daystar for like how many months? 6 months. Then I was asked to apply for Deputy Comms NS. Then after Deputy Comms, now I'm the Comms Director. Yeah.
That has been a journey.
Yeah.
Mine isn't quite as long. I joined KMUN in the 23rd session. I was mostly, again, GA. I don't know why. A lot of law students actually usually go to GA instead
Only
of
at
ICJ.
Only at
Only at GA. Only at GA. But then that's what pulled me in. So I was like, okay, let me go. So I actually entered as an observer. That was during, what was it? Was it conference? Yeah, during conference. I was just an observer. I didn't participate or anything, but I really enjoyed. But I was like, okay, I want to get into this space a little bit more. So in the 24th session, I was like, I'm coming back. I'm going to be a delegate. I'm going to interact. Then I saw packet saying communications we remembers sign up. So I thought, hisi naweza fanya, because I already had some background in photography and graphic design. So I was like, this is something I can do. So I applied. I did my interviews, passed, got in. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to participate now in this session. Well, let's just say communications is very engaging. So I never really got that chance to, be very active within the
G.
within GA. So mine has mostly been as a member of staff, as communication. So that's why I got to build my skills, my media skills, I believe. Yeah, that now we have us achieved so much within that period. Even this podcast, this was a baby of Amanda and I and Adalia. So that is basically my KMUN journey. Mine has mostly been on the other side of the camera. So if you don't see me in photos, that's probably why. Yeah. All right. And I think that concludes our session for today. It's been a long one, longer than we actually intended. But the stories have been amazing. We have enjoyed listening to each and every one of you. So I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. And for our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We want to ask you that you may like this podcast wherever you're getting it, YouTube or Spotify. Leave a comment. Tell us what your experience has been with KMUN, what you think the gender bias in the diplomatic space or in KMUN is. Just tell us in the comment section. We'd be really excited to see what your views are. And yeah, that is it. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel or follow us on Spotify. And yeah, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.